بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. A question that a lot of us ask is, after believing in the 12th Imam, after acknowledging and accepting the fact that there is that individual that we call the awaited Savior who will cleanse the earth of oppression and injustice and fill it with justice and equity and happiness, the next question is, well, how can we reach Him? How do we connect with Him? More specifically, are there any preconditions? Are there any prerequisites, as they would say, when it comes to connecting with this Imam? And the answer is absolutely not. There are no preconditions. There are no prerequisites. It's like praying. Have you ever heard people say that I won't pray until I understand in complete depth the philosophy of salat? The answer is no, of course not. You're supposed to just pray. When you do it, you will learn by practicing. You will acquire the gnosis and understanding in your application of this act of worship. Now, what does connecting with Him even mean? And the answer is simple. You've heard the story of Uwais al-Qarani. Uwais was a companion who never actually met the Holy Prophet. In other words, technically speaking, he's not a companion. He's what they call a tabi'i. Because a companion is, according to the standard definition, is someone who met the Prophet. He never met him. And yet, one day, the Prophet was away. Uwais al-Qarani came all the way from his home in Yemen to Medina. But because the Prophet was outside of the city, he never got the chance and the privilege to see the Prophet. And so he had to go back because his mother had only given him a very specific time frame. So he needed to go back and help his mother. When the Prophet returned, he said, I can smell the fragrance of Uwais al-Qarani. In other words, the connection, the bond between Uwais and the Prophet was so strong, despite the fact that he had never actually met him, which is exactly where we are, isn't it? We've never met the Imam. We've never actually had that privilege, that honor to connect with him physically. And yet, we still have the chance. We have the ability to, in fact, create such a bond where the Imam yearns for us, where we yearn for him. And that is, in a nutshell, what that connection means. It's about familiarity. It's about fondness. It's about connecting with him, thinking of him, being in a state where he matters to us and he changes, he literally changes our behavior for the better because of our relationship with him. Are we able to do that? The answer is absolutely yes. Are there any preconditions or prerequisites? The answer is no. All you do is you point that dish toward the right direction. Have you ever used a satellite dish, right? You know the signals are coming, right? And the signals are everywhere. It's only a matter of you pointing your receiver in the right direction. As soon as you do that, the connection is made instantaneously. As soon as you connect with him, you're done. You're at that point, you have achieved nirvana, as they would say, right? The problem though is that number one, either we don't turn the dish into the right direction, we are confused, we're distracted by all the things that happen around us, by our lives, by our livelihoods, by our career, by our studies, by our family. We're too distracted to be pointing that dish into the right direction. Or sometimes, God forbid, there is another bigger, deeper problem, which we'll talk about in the next section.